What's going on, everybody? What's up? Drunken Santa Claus host for this week. Episode 95, press any key. I am your host. It's weird not having the doodly in the back. Thanks so much for joining us this week. You can find us on social media, TikTok, Instagram.
Dude, God,
what's the other one?
YouTube.
At pressanykey.tv. And yeah, subscribe, share, good stuff. This week, with me as always, my co-host Nick McFly. And oh, he's back. Look at that. Holy shit.
I made it.
It's about time.
Everyone give it up for Mike Burke. And on the ones and twos, everyone give it up for Hey Gingy.
Hey.
Follow her on Twitch.
Everybody's favorite Angmo.
So, sub her foot scars.
It's coming in nice, don't you worry.
Anyway.
Don't you worry.
Wait, you got foot scars growing?
Yeah, that's why I'm in this.
Did I ever tell you about the way I got? I have a foot scar.
I was wondering where you would go.
I have a scar on my foot.
You have my attention.
So there was a heavy can of metal spray can of spray starch, that tipped and fell off a dresser and sliced a piece of my foot all the way through except for the bottom layer of skin. Whoa. So the side of my foot just flopped off. It's like, I need to go to the hospital.
What?
Yeah.
That's fucked
Wrapped
up.
my whole foot in a towel. The towel turned red.
When was this?
I was like 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not
It could have been
recently.
worse, though. You could have got
been
shot.
Worse. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
You could have got shot right
But
through
as
the
a
chest.
kid, I was like, there's a piece of my foot just fell off.
Oh, that's new.
This looks like salami. Doesn't taste like salami, though. Still salty. All right. So we're just going to get right to it.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill's out of Superman. It sucks, but they said James Gunn said they want him for other things, which could be 5 years from now. It could be 10 years from now.
And he's doing Warhammer, so.
Well, yeah, like after he took the biggest L.
Two big L's.
Two big L's.
I will say this. Did we expect anything less from him than absolute class in his statement, though?
Oh,
No,
Because he wasn't angry at any of the... I mean, probably in his... in his private
his heart of
he's
hearts.
like, man, fuck these people. Fuck what they did and fuck The Rock. And, I mean, that relationship's done because, as Mike said earlier today, he unfollowed Warner
The Rock
Brothers.
unfollowed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Rock unfollowed Warner Brothers and the Black Adam social media accounts.
After allegedly releasing falsified
After committing fraud.
then falsified documents to say, no, my movie did make money.
I promise, guys, it's okay.
Give me another one.
Exactly. So, either way, though, Henry Cavill's out. They're focusing on a Superman movie that is going to focus on a younger Superman. It's going to be the same, dude. They're doing the same shit they did 10 years ago.
Kal-El, no.
Kal-El, no. They're doing the same shit they did 10 years ago. Okay, they put out a banger-ass Batman movie, and then they tried to do the same shit with Superman, and it didn't work out.
Oh, shit.
And
Yep.
they put out a banger-ass Batman movie that focuses on him within the first 2 years of his career. He's already established as Batman. They're doing this. They're taking literally the same approach with Superman. But James Gunn's writing the script.
James Gunn's writing the script, and they're going to have a slate of movies rather than just like, whatever happens, happens.
Well, the other thing was that they had a slate plan, almost over a decade ago at this point, but none of those hit. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
DC, when they...
DC had a slate. They were like, Batman versus Superman.
No,
Justice League.
No. In 2012... After
Dark Knight,
after the Avengers was released, they put out a slate. You could look it up. It's a slate. They had a Cyborg movie coming. The Flash movie had 7 release dates.
So when you said they never hit, it's like they didn't even come to theaters.
Oh yeah, they never hit. Like they didn't have any hits. So
they were just like, we have to put paper out. And
yeah, exactly. So yeah. Either way, it ain't looking great. So
I disagree. It's looking really great.
You didn't let me finish.
This is exactly what I wanted.
It ain't looking great for the 4 movies that are coming out this year.
Yeah.
Because it's Aquaman, which is the only one that ever made over $1 billion, which I'm surprised even the shareholders at Warner Brothers are like, you should at least keep Aquaman because that's the only one of these that we made money on.
Please.
The other thing that isn't, there's absolute definites that we know. Peacemaker is not going anywhere.
No.
Neither is the OG. Neither is the new Suicide Squad. And they're absolutely bringing Margot Robbie back to be Harley Quinn because
You
James
think so?
Gunn said it himself that he loved working with Margot Robbie as
Okay.
Harley Quinn and he wanted to work with her again.
But
Yeah.
did you say they are or are not bringing back Peacemaker?
No, that's a definite stay. Like
I thought you said they.
this is
they
what
want-
I'm moving my. If I were to be like all in, I'm all in
Yeah.
on everything James Gunn has already touched and made, and then everything else. And
That's kind of fucked up.
Well, it's
they're
also the
starting.
smart call.
No,
Like,
no,
he's
they're
got-
starting new, but I imagine that's what they're telling everyone, and then they're gonna wrap that in some
They're gonna
way,
start
like-
new with all of like the table stakes dudes.
I tend to believe the Trinity are the first three that are up.
Yeah,
Like they're
yeah.
and also James Gunn himself said he read Ben Affleck's Batman script from like back in the day and said it was one of the best Batman movies he's ever read. And that's the speculation because they met, had lunch, everything, and they talked about a project for Ben Affleck to write and direct. And speculation is he's gonna get his Batman movie, but he's not gonna play Batman.
But is it going to be young Batman or old Batman?
It's gonna be whatever this iteration
Yeah.
of DCU Batman is.
Will it be nice to start from the beginning, and not like.
Yeah, but we already know how Batman is
No,
started.
I'm not saying do an origin story, but just like pick a young actor who we can, have for
Yeah.
a 15-year, 20-year run.
We got one, and then they were like, "This is too good. We got to keep this away from the other
Don't-
pile of dog shit."
Yeah, don't
should,
don't sully his good name.
they should put Ben Affleck in the movie as like Alfred or just,
Actually,
like,
wait, why not just do the fucking Batman Beyond thing with Affleck?
where he's an old ass dude. Yeah.
Stop. Stop. I'm just saying, this is Nick now offering a plan that doesn't just involve wiping the slate clean. So I'm willing to hear where this goes.
I'm supporting it.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying have him be this current Batman from the current Snyderverse. Just have him be Batman Beyond,
yeah.
like old Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I'd rather him write and direct, though.
I mean,
he's
no,
such
sure,
a
but
better
it'd be
filmmaker
fun.
than
Can
he
do
is.
that too.
Yeah.
But let's get this new DC train out of the station, and then maybe 5-10 years from now, Ben Affleck's going to be an old man, and just let him do a
Couple
fucking
stops
Batman
down the
Beyond.
line.
Yeah.
He gets on the train, and then he gets right off on the next stop.
And then, and they're like,
No, thanks.
It's just the scene at the end of Christopher Nolan's Batman's where they're in like France. And
Yes.
he just like gives him the nod.
Except it's his Boston accent. It's like, "Hey, how are you?" Something like that. Anyway,
He's eating Dunkin' Donuts like
smoking a cigarette.
in Paris.
all right. Let's.
I love all the sad Affleck memes. They're so good.
That man went through a divorce.
That man went through a lot.
And then
He
he got
did.
back together.
He went through a lot of bottles.
dropped-
He apparently he's separated from her now too.
Are you kidding?
What?
Yeah.
J-Lo?
Yeah. Right. You would know.
We're now a celebrity gossip podcast.
No, she would
We're
know.
a celebrity rag.
I feel like I saw that, but I don't think it's true. Oh, I feel like you can't hear me. I don't
You need
think
to
that's
pull
true.
that. Right. It needs to be this.
You need to
close.
grip it.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't actually know if that's true or not. I apologize.
I'm pretty sure it's true.
Nick will check.
I just realized I'm not taking notes. Also, I have no way to keep track of what time.
Where are we?
Liz, what time are we on the episode?
8:24.
Inside
24, all right.
Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's extra special Christmas this year. Well, maybe they are still together.
It's a Netflix special. The Ben Affleck.
Affleck
J-Lo.
defies Jennifer Lopez. He smokes while Christmas shopping with J-Lo. I like that. I like it. You can't smoke in front of your own woman. Who can you smoke in front
You
of?
can't put me in a box.
Yeah, okay. There's two women you should be able to smoke in front of. Your wife and hookers, and that's it. All right. Are we done with DC? I want to talk about Avatar.
I'm not
That's
ready.
why we're here, baby.
All right. So here's what I want to do for Avatar.
Here's what I want to do.
We're going to
for
go around the
Avatar.
room, starting with Liz, ending with Nick. And I don't want to hear any specifics. I just want to hear one way or another. Did you enjoy yourself? Starting with Liz. Yes or no?
Yes, I enjoyed myself.
Okay. I'm going to say yes, I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
You
I
enjoyed
did.
yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
I did enjoy myself.
You
That's
did.
4
I did.
for 4.
Okay, that's 4 for 4. Now, like I said, we got to do this in levels.
I was curious how we're
Now,
gonna approach it.
let's go to the next one. As far as the way that we always review things, which is did it serve its purpose?
Oh yeah, always until it's convenient.
Did this serve its purpose? Liz?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, because I think so too. I went in and I thought this checked all the boxes I was looking for. There's some, like, don't get me wrong, I have criticisms.
Yeah.
valid ones.
I think they're valid.
Yeah, because there is some issues for sure, but overall, I was like, okay, cool. But you go ahead.
Yeah, I won't, without going into detail, I think it gave me what I wanted.
Damn, I didn't know you were looking for hope in Avatar.
Oh, it's what I needed, you know, intrinsically.
This saved 2022 for him.
It did. God damn, Ben Affleck not being divorced and Avatar 2 coming out
Smoking
really.
in front of J-Lo. But Nick,
Yes, it accomplished what it set out to do.
okay. So now
Here's
here's
a round of applause.
now before we go into non-spoiler, one last question for everybody. We'll start with Liz again. Do you think it's a good movie?
Yes, I do think it's a good movie.
I think this is great.
Good.
I would say at least good. After the conversation, I'll decide if it rises to the level of great.
Okay. So there's room to change your mind.
It's so hard to not like say anything.
It's so hard because there's so much stuff that I want to praise, but then there's somehow these like big boils on the face of perfectness that this movie is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
Like that's the way I describe it, is that this came so close to being immaculate, and then all of a sudden I remember who wrote it.
Yep.
Yeah. I think a good part of it for me was I felt like good emotional swing throughout it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
I did
was
not fully expect to do that.
way more emotionally invested in this
Yeah,
one than I
for
was
sure.
in the 2009 one.
Right. Like even from like action sequences to like suspense sequences to sadness.
But also just I feel like the character interactions are way more actually, and you
A
know
lot
what?
stronger.
So we talked about this in the car on the way here, and what I think is that out of all the shit that Disney has shoveled at us post Endgame, you know, when Chapek took over, when Chapek took over, when Phase 4 started, when the fucking Star Wars shows took Disney Plus, all this bullshit by committee stuff that they've been giving us, I feel like this, like even more than Spider-Man No Way Home, is the most sincere thing Disney has put forward. Like I actually believe the guy who made this gives a shit about what
Nick's
he made.
gonna say the same thing that I'm gonna say.
What?
No. I want to hear what you have to say.
Like, yes, this is Disney, but it's James Cameron.
But it's so James
like,
Cameron.
That, like it's I wouldn't even like.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like it's still, once again, it's still a Disney product, and I feel like when you put it up against all the other ones that have come out, I feel like the guy that actually made this really gives a shit about what he's trying to do, regardless of execution.
It's got the Disney wholesomeness to it, but it also has like a lot of really gruesome killing and action.
Yeah.
Which is like, this is not Disney. It doesn't feel Disney at all.
Yeah.
It's got the heart where it needs to.
A lot of Terminator 2
Yes, I
alien
was going to
style
say,
action.
for sure.
Yeah.
I was very happy with I was like,
Yeah.
I am
The
genuinely
action,
thrilled right now.
everything felt intentional and like,
It was all filmed great too.
Yeah.
Like there was none of the shaky camera shit. There was some stuff where they spun the world or the camera.
Mike mentioned this, and I
Pat
agree.
mentioned
It
as well.
kept flipping back and forth between 24 and 48 frames.
Yeah.
and that was disjarring. Disjarring? Is that the right word?
Jarring.
Jarring.
Now, I would understand
disorienting.
why you would increase the frame rate in the action sequences to keep the sharpness of the image so you don't lose it in the motion blur. But the problem is that this shit was turning from 48 frames per second to 24 FPS within like coverage
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
a scene
It
taking
seemed to
place.
me like the 48 was being used to really heighten the 3D at certain moments.
Oh, for sure, because
and like that didn't like
and-
that only
well,
made it
the
more
only other movie
like,
the only other movie I've seen like this was The Hobbit, which was in 48 frames per second and 3D.
Right.
And it looked the exact same way. Everything was way smoother and popped more. And I actually came to appreciate that, especially during some of the more violent scenes.
Yeah.
You know, we'll call it that.
in
Yeah.
Hobbit.
No,
Or-
in
yes.
Avatar. And I actually, in some parts, I really wish, like, is this a performance thing? Like they couldn't render all of this out, so they only rendered what they could have. And I was like, no, because they would have James Cameron would have just invented new computers.
There were like 2 or 3 shots that I was like, oh, that did not render great.
Yeah, but even then, like, I just don't understand what the creative choice is between. I get the creative choice between the high frame rate. It's for the motion smoothing. It's for the sharper image. But what I don't understand is why it changes in between the coverage in the scenes.
I think I had a bit of a problem with it just because especially when you're dealing with things that are like really alien or things that are otherworldly, like you need a bit of motion blur to understand like how they move, how they interact, like things like how does it exist in this like atmosphere of things? Because
make no mistake, there's still motion blur on screen because that's what fills the space in between the frames. But
there's a lot of like the high frame rate kind of stuff that is like it to me really looked like I was playing like a computer game or like a PS5 game with motion blur turned off.
There was a bunch of sequences, especially with the creatures in the woods, the like sleek black ones. I don't know what they're called. Those it looked like it was a cutscene out of a video game.
Those dogs that they had in the first one, I was like, how do those still look bad? Almost
they still look bad.
15 years later, almost.
But they're really the only creature that does look really bad.
They're the only thing that I was like, this doesn't look great.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I feel about the 2 Avatar films now the same way I feel about the 2 Deadpool movies, where they are both different animals in their own right, but they achieve the same thing. That's kind of what I feel here, because I feel like all the plot points and like, at least maybe not the plot points, but the beats and the way the story flowed was the exact same as the first one.
Well, I mean, that's it. At the end of the movie, it was satisfying, but when they revealed who the villain was, I'll try to tip. Like I was like, oh wow, they couldn't think of anything else more creative to further the story. They're just copying the same.
Yes. However, I think they did a better job with the villain this time.
Agreed.
Because the villain in the last movie was like the mission, whereas this one was like my son, like,
my boy,
father help. Speaking of which, he was in the trailer, and I just never noticed him.
Yeah. No,
so the whole movie, I walked in like, I don't know. Like, I know they're bringing Stephen Lang back. I don't know what his character is going to be and everything. But no, and I feel like they did a good job of fleshing that side of the villain. Like, they set up the villain really well, and they gave him a compelling. It wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be, but I feel like they gave him a compelling piece of storytelling for future things,
right? I felt like the first, I don't know, maybe like 30 or 45 minutes.
It's hard to tell how much time
it's really
passed.
tough to tell, but there was a lot of things that they really quickly just threw and shoehorned in just to get a point across, and I was kind of like, okay, that's kind of dumb, like, or that's like cheap or lazy. But then I was like, looking back at it, I was like, we have so much time. I'm like, I'm glad they didn't like dance around bullshit with things.
Yeah, and it also, in a way, feels like the sequel to Dances with Wolves that never happened. You know what I mean? It's got that weird vibe to it and I like how in this one, instead of Jake being the one that experiences like this new way of life and everything, it's his children.
It's everybody,
it's this message of legacy and protecting your family and everything. Once again, what I can say for the story is that it is just like the first one in the sense that it is derivative. It's been told other places, and depending on your taste, perhaps even told better in other places. But I'm sold by it, by the characters. The characters are good. They're fleshed out, and they have time to breathe and be real and interact with each other.
They had 3.5 hours to breathe.
Fucking the one son is super complex and super deep. You have no idea what he's feeling, because not only does he have like this whole logic and I want father to like appreciate me and everything, like he appreciates my older brother, but he's also just raging with hormones with that fish lady that's that decided she likes him.
He's raging on the fish lady.
He's raging on fish lady
with the whale jizz.
Well, I think like to your point too with it, it's like it is. You had Jake in the first one, like experiencing this new thing, but you still have him here experiencing now multiple new things.
Well, it's also it's also, I feel like, from a better perspective, because it's not like white guy goes to indigenous people.
Yeah.
It's like indigenous children are with another indigenous tribe and they're sharing their
Well,
culture.
not only that, but it also comments on, mixed race kids not really feeling like they're a part of either culture.
There's a good amount of social commentary.
We said that in the movie is that even though they looked Na'vi, they still looked like mixed race
humanoid,
children.
and then with the fingers.
With the fingers. Yeah, I get and I thought that was really well done too, because it's obviously like sci-fi and furthers the plot and the commentary and themes, but it also has some weird level of representation to it too. You know what I mean? Because it's not just physical; it's telling that side of life. You know?
Yeah, it just also helps to build the story. And
for
them
sure.
being outsiders, and then you have the parallel of the other outside thing. Like there's a lot of really good balance in the storytelling on how most of this was set up with one thing in here and then one thing over here, kind of continually going on.
Yeah. So there's one thing we haven't mentioned yet: special effects.
I mean, what is there really
But
to say?
No. I'm really tired of that. Like, of course it looks good. Of course, just 2 months ago, everyone was like, pay the special effects artists. They did. For 4 years, they worked on this, and it shows.
I mean,
no one should be doing
said.
a review though and saying, yeah, but you knew that. No. This is so good. It moves the marker for special effects. You can't have shitty CGI in a multiple $1 million film now. You can't. You will not be sold on it. Everything, including the first Avatar, will now be held up to this one. I can't wait to see what they do in 3. I think the needle won't, the gap won't be as big.
Dramatic.
Yeah, but even then, if this is the way they're deciding
to come out
next December.
Next December?
Yes.
Like 2023.
Yes.
So it's all the same technology.
Yeah, they shot. Well, okay, so actually,
They pulled it Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Now that we're talking about that, so this was actually shot 4 years ago. It was originally supposed to come out in 2014. Then it got pushed back to 2015, 2016, 2018. They finally went into production in 2018. They finished
Then they
the whole
got hit
thing.
with the pandemic.
Then it was supposed to come out in 2020 because they were going to do a year for special effects. Then the pandemic came and Disney was like, well, they saw what was going on. Like if they put their film, there was like, and James Cameron was even like, yeah, you should hold on to this. Because right now it's slated to make upwards of $600 million in the US alone on
just
opening.
this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, worldwide it's going to do gangbusters. And like the other thing is too, is that I see a lot of people like, on top of the special effects, like pushing it away and saying like, well, of course it's going to make a lot of money. Of course, it's like, yeah, but go see it. It's a fucking spectacle. It's not just they spent $400 million on this and it should make its money. This is clearly one man's vision that they just let him do whatever he wanted, and it looks incredible.
Okay, can I? This is the moment that everyone's been waiting for.
Okay, so what didn't you like?
No. I'm not. We're not there yet. I have a confession to make.
What?
So, when in 2009 I watched the original Avatar, I had I was like, okay, that was okay. It was an okay movie. And then I kind of got jaded around the fact that it was like the whole reputation was built on how much money they spent and how amazing the technology was. And I was like, this movie doesn't deserve to be up in the ranks of, it's now being touted as one of the greatest films of all time just because they spent a lot of money and they made technology. And I never really felt like it deserved all the hype. I watched it again Thursday.
Okay.
And I've spent the last 2-3 months becoming this troll.
I have an archive, yeah.
And just kind of pestering you about like how much I think the movie is just.
We all know.
So watched again on Thursday. Aside from my a few choice complaints, I had a really fun time watching the movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Rewatching it now as an adult.
Yeah, dude. And you're probably watching it like, this looks incredible for 2022.
It still looks really good.
This came out in 2009. Oh no!
And I went into it also ready to find stuff to not like about it. And again, it was mostly there wasn't anything. The biggest complaint I would have is it didn't need to be that long. That whole third act was just dragged a lot.
There's only two things I don't like about the last one's story. It's the villain, you know, mustache twirling, even though it's a good performance.
He was very shallow.
And the love story between him and Neytiri is a montage. It literally happens over a montage, and then they're in love, passionately in love. Like, and I get why they did those things because that's really not the point of the movie. It's just some spice to add in there.
Yeah,
but still, those are my two biggest issues. But I was like, this doesn't ruin the fucking action spectacle. Like, this is basically the equivalent of what I would call, like, remember in the 60s when the musical was the summer blockbuster and it was all this spectacle and pop and circumstance? I feel like even out of the Marvel movies, the only two movies that stepped outside of the blockbuster, like without hitting all the beats and did their own thing and were still massive movies, was the Batman and Avatar: The Way of Water. Out of all the blockbusters, just the blockbusters. Well, I'm saying including the Marvel movies because we all know how I feel about those.
So, the other thing that I want to add on top of that is, Liz, cut to this camera.
I already had.
I recognize that I'm a hypocrite.
Ladies and gentlemen, it takes a big man.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. All the time I bitch and moan and like, why do we just keep getting more of the same shit over and over and over again? Why do we just keep digging up the same franchises and just throwing money at that shit again? And then Avatar comes around and it's a new thing. It's interesting and different and it's got cool characters, designs, a whole other world built out. And I'm bitching and complaining that we're getting more of those. Fuck that. Original IPs, I'm about it. I've 100% done a 180 and I want more Avatar.
If it
I did not see that coming.
I'm just going to keep playing this.
Because who the fuck am I to complain about all like franchise fatigue and then say, well, fuck this new interesting property.
It's also hard to get franchise fatigue
fuck
when
this
it's 12, 13 years later.
Also, it's one of those things where, like, yes, that is absolutely true, but also people talk about how it has no cultural impact when, like, one, talk to VFX artists, yes, it does.
Well, that's on a cultural level, not on an industry level.
But number two, it's still a part of the conversation. Everyone still talks about Avatar.
Had this movie
how much it doesn't deserve its praise.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's still a part of the conversation. You know what I mean?
Do you think that would still be part of the conversation if we weren't going to get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
No, I think it would be.
I think it would be forgotten.
I think it'd be like another classic kind of movie that people are just very like black or white on.
Yeah,
I think it'd be one of those movies when you go back and you look at James Cameron's like filmography. It'd be like, oh, this was this. But you know what I mean?
I don't
it'd
think
always be that. Movie.
I don't think people, because that's the thing. It's like I don't know anybody whose favorite movie is Avatar or who any like. I pulled it up and I was watching with John and Sarah and they're like, oh, I like this movie. And I was like, okay, the title screen was up and it was the two main characters. I was like, what are their names? Tell me their names. No, you can't say. I mean, obviously Jake Sully, but it's like
alien names.
Tell me one other. I couldn't tell you any of the kids' names from this new movie.
Yeah.
But did it impact your?
We just watched it an hour ago. No, I'm saying it's like, will these characters live in people's hearts? But I don't know.
That's a good point.
But the thing that's interesting about it is the world building and the interesting character design. I don't really care about the characters so much as like this amazing, interesting world that James Cameron has built with an ecosystem that interacts, like all the creatures can interact and talk to each other. That's an interesting concept.
That's actually a really, really, really good point.
It's good sci-fi because it has that intricacy while also still being simplistic and like easy to the viewer, but also it has themes and comments on stuff and has something to say.
Right. And
so
I mean,
like regardless of how great or how grand epic of a movie it is, it's still good sci-fi. It's got all the good ingredients.
And it's got a cool kind of like approach that works within like the meta of the movie too, with everything being a cohesive ecosystem. That like they really did a good job not being like, this is your hero character.
Right.
Like it's not just from their perspective the entire thing.
Yeah.
Even though it literally is.
Are we talking about one or two right now?
Two. I'm talking about two.
Okay, I was gonna say
I'm talking about no. I'm talking about two now, where they've really cracked open Pandora.
They spread it nice and wide, just really got in there.
They got in there.
So
they opened up Pandora's box.
Let's talk about characters real quick.
Can you name them?
Jake.
Okay, Neytiri.
Fish Lady.
Fish lady,
pregnant fish lady,
fish lady's mom,
Fish lady's mom,
fish lady's dad,
brother,
the guy who kind of looks like The Rock.
Yeah,
yeah. What's up with him?
the Flight of the Conchords guy.
Oh man,
That's who that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jame.
What's the God, yeah, I can't remember. What's Sigourney Weaver's character's name? Kiri.
Okay.
The kid.
Took or took?
Tuck. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tuck it in. Either way, even though I can't remember their names on account of that they're difficult to remember, I thought they were enjoyable while I wasn't like, oh my God, get away from these fucking kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They all did a good job. All good performances.
I liked Sam Worthington is way better in this one than he was in the last one, and
he's better.
And I think that's because he has less screen time.
Honestly, but his accent, dude, it's
all over the place.
Yes.
What are you gonna do? What did you say it best? Where you're like, it's an Australian man trying to do a Brooklyn accent in an alien language
on an alien planet.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where the Boston accent came from?
Boston.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
he was like, my daughter.
Straight up Brooklyn.
Yeah, my daughter.
It's like, let's go get our daughters. Like,
Let's go get our daughters.
That's or that's Boston, right? You just
Yes.
were Peter Griffin right there.
You just confirmed
Oh,
what I
let's
was
go get
thinking.
let's go get our daughters.
Our daughters.
Daughters.
Zoe Saldana was good, but she did nothing the entire time.
Yeah. She wasn't as
Which I don't think
active.
that's a spoiler. She just doesn't have a lot of screen time.
Yeah. It was a big ensemble movie, so
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the all right, should we go into spoilers? I kind of want to go into spoilers.
Well, let's. We kind of jumped over visuals, so.
Again, it's like they were great.
But no. I didn't get to say my piece. It was the thing.
All right.
It was the thing where
all right,
I was.
Tom Navarano.
Let me say my piece, Matt.
Okay, I don't think he's ever made that.
I'm picturing him sitting at the dinner table with a guinea tea on. Let me say my piece.
Just a cut off.
I don't think I've ever met your dad, and he's Italian, so I just gave him, some credit. But it was the thing where, I was walking into it like Nick. I was like, yes, this has been going to be fantastic visually, but holy hell, I did not it was within the first 2 minutes, I was like, this is just so stupid. It's so stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
But oh my God. And throughout the whole thing,
The 3D also didn't annoy me either.
It didn't.
It was actually.
It was bad in the beginning, but as soon as we got out of the jungle forest and into the water stuff, it stopped bothering, because there wasn't trees in my face all the time.
There was
I
one
liked
scene
those.
where something came at the screen, and I was like, I like how they threw that in at least once.
There was a vine at
rope,
one point,
rope,
or whatever.
yeah.
I'll always prefer a 2D movie over a 3D movie, I think. But
I think so too. I mean, it made it much more immersive and
I'll
I want to say
always
crisp, but
prefer a movie that was shot for the particular format it's meant to be showcased in.
yeah.
Because I don't love 3D. I don't even like 3D. But
kept your
I'll go
glasses,
see
though,
this. Oh yeah, that's right. Where the fuck are they?
where'd I put my 3D specs?
Because if that's the way all 3D movies look,
They don't.
Why not?
They don't.
They
all
can't.
look like
but
that.
it's all post conversion. So what it does is create depth.
Yeah.
It's not really coming out. But in this movie, it was there was a couple scenes I was like, there's fucking bugs all over the place.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Liz,
yeah.
what about you? What'd you think?
I really enjoyed the movie. I had a good time. I thought it looked really pretty, except I was closer to the aisle. So as people were standing up, because I don't know what was with this theater, they brought an exorbitant amount of children. So they were getting up to go to the bathroom. And so sometimes I couldn't tell if it was something in the distance in the 3D.
Oh, Liz, I thought that too. I also felt that when somebody stood up and it looked like an avatar, just popping out of nowhere.
It's it's 4D now.
There was so many children in our movie
Why
theater
are they coming out of the screen? Oh, which by the way, that's the same theater I saw Black Panther in.
Is that where we also saw Spider-Man No Way Home?
No,
No.
we saw that one in the other end of Route 1.
But it was a similar kind of
It was a
theater.
similar one. But
I mean,
we were in,
what
the
do you
same
expect?
spot.
We went at 10 o'clock on a Saturday.
But what I was
AM,
going to say
so-
was that there was no problems with the color or darkness this time around, whereas when I saw Black Panther there, it was awful in the dark scene. So there was definitely something wrong with that movie.
Well, that's just James Cameron is going around to every movie theater and sitting there at midnight and I got COVID, but I'm gonna do it all right.
That's true. He wasn't allowed to go to the premiere of his own movie because he got COVID, which sucks because this is truly a good comeback for him. I think I want to say, like, does it live up to the hype? But I don't think there was a tremendous amount of hype.
In this room, there was, but not outside this room.
Yeah, I don't think it was hype. It was, like, need to prove itself. So it's like not like, oh, my God, I'm so excited. It was an underdog
story. Yeah, it was one of those things. But either way, I think it lived up to expectations.
Do we think that it's going to follow in the footsteps of the first one and kind of, like, build up steam as it goes with word of mouth?
I think this one's going to be
I think this one is... I mean, listen, the first one opened up to $73 million on the first weekend, and they called it a bomb. This one's opening up to potentially 600.
Yeah, and it's a bomb.
No.
Do we think it's going to have legs?
Oh, better question. Would you go see it again?
Me personally,
well, no, hold on. That's an interesting question. You are correct about that. It does depend on repeat business, but the theatrical window is different now. Back then, you could put out a movie and it was in theaters for fucking. It could be. It could be in there for 6 months,
and then it would disappear for a number of months before you could get it on home video.
Right, which depending how popular it was, that's like they used to call that like the second opening weekend. Right. You get like another huge cash inflow,
and then it goes to the Disney vault forever.
That's right. Bob Iger and Bob Chapek's in there now too. Him and his millions.
It's like in the glass floating through space.
Him and just copies of Song of the South just locked in the Disney vault.
The irony.
No, let me out, Iger. But the theatrical window has changed. It's now 45 days. It's much shorter. It's way shorter now. Word travels faster in the age of social media. And long term, I think you're asking me, is this going to make $2.8 billion?
What I'm asking you is this going to be in people's conversations for like, let's say into January? Are people going to be talking January, February? Or is this going to do really well and then after Christmas, everybody forgets about it?
No, I think it's going to go into...
Here's what you know what's going to happen? The conversation around the effects, the visual effects, is going to stay, I think. The conversation around the story and the characters and the world, I think that's going to... There's just stronger IPs that are in the conversation more. But as far as the effects go, but as soon as they drop that first trailer for the third one, it's... Because now we have all this momentum going. Like, people are coming out of this movie talking about how great it is.
That's a good point.
Talking about how much they love it because...
haters like me.
And the other thing, too, the audience seems to like this one more than they like the last one because on just general overview, on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, the user scores for the first Avatar are about the same as the critic scores, where the critic scores are about the same for this movie as they are the first Avatar, whereas the user scores are way higher.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think, and not only that, you got a whole generation of kids that grew up with that first movie that are now like, oh, this, and that's the other thing too. It didn't feel like a legacy sequel. It felt like we're picking up the story where we left off at its natural point. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel weird.
Well, are we going to get into spoilers?
I say we get into spoilers now. After number rating, I would give this an 8. I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Liz,
I'm comfortable with an 8 as well. Yeah, I'm gonna go 8.5. Okay. I think I look at movies a little less critically than Pat does.
By 0.5%.
Hey, that's a lot.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it 8.5.
I think 8's honestly a really good number because from all of like the visual standpoint and like everything with that just alone makes it at least a 7. And then the small details where it's like it works. It's not a legacy sequel. The best way I can describe it is the best way I can sum up what you're saying, because I feel the same way, is all the shit that they did in the first one really well. They doubled down on it on this one. And the stuff from the first one that didn't work, it didn't get worse. They just never fixed it. It just wasn't fixed, and it looked better. Like, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
I'll give it an 8.
Okay. So it's got so 8 out of 10 from us. Okay.
What is it hanging around on? Do you know on Metacritic? Did you see before?
It's like 83.
It's like 83, and
so
Rotten
we're
Tomatoes
right
is
there.
about 81, 82.
Yeah.
But Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes, I think, are like 96 and 94 on the audience side.
Damn. All
Yeah,
right.
dude, people like it.
I think it's probably like there's that recency bias. I think probably after a few weeks it might come down a few points, but I don't think it's going to come crashing down. It's probably just going to fluctuate by 2 or 3.
Yeah, and but there'll be some shit where like, you wait, we're happy now, but then this week there'll be all the, so I saw Avatar. Why did this character do this? And that
The
ruins the
CinemaSin
whole
shit.
movie for me. The story chuds will come out like, this wasn't written.
The story chuds.
This wasn't written to be super airtight, like, like my mom.
There you go.
With,
I was waiting.
with my stepdad.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
So right now, Rotten Tomatoes has it at a 78%, but the audience score is a 94.
Damn.
And IMDb is sided with you guys. It's 8.2 out of 10.
We are accurate movie critics, is what I'm hearing.
Episode over.
Thank you.
All right,
you.
outro.
But that's it for
so let's do spoilers now.
Spoilers.
There's a couple things I want to let's just start with the villain. I
fucking
think
monkey kid. Let's start with the monkey
no,
kid.
let's start with the villain. First of all, it's Quaritch again. They download
brought him
it.
back.
I love how they de-aged him, and they brought in the guy from the other movie to give this alibi that they download it. Like that works in that world. Like, we've already established they have this crazy technology and everything. It's just when it was Quaritch again, I was just like, God damn it, really? Come on. Like,
That's
it wasn't
my
it's
exact
not
feeling.
somebody else. But that being said, as the movie went along and they introduced more elements to his character, I was like, oh, I see why they brought him back, because they're trying to do him justice, but you could have done this with another character.
Right, and I like that they actually call out to it when he has the boy in the cell, and he's like, "That's not me. That old guy isn't me." And you clearly see that in the first movie. That dude was about the mission, like we talked
Right.
about. It's very
Now this one's revenge
Semper
driven.
Fi, kind of I'm here for the cause, and then this one is just nah, I'm a different guy. I'm bigger, faster, stronger, and I'm here to kill
And
Jake
bluer.
Sully.
I
And bluer.
love the callbacks to the end, to their confrontation in the last movie too.
yeah, right when he goes to kill him
the
the
really
first time.
hype part was I kind of figured you'd say that. And they play that on the tape, and then the end's all right, well, let's get it done now. I was like, oh, they did it again, and somehow I'm still hyped.
Yeah. And he crushes his
own
literal
skull.
that
own
was
skull.
so fucking cool. I
Yeah.
was like, who would think that? I thought it was wild when he rips the head off of it, and then you see the scars and everything.
Yeah.
I was like,
But
ooh.
this is what I'm talking about, that I really liked the metaphors and parallels, and some things were a little heavy handed, other things were that's really good character building.
Yeah.
It's him literally killing the old version of himself, and
But
is a different
here's
person
my
now.
problem though. I think with a movie like this, where you're exploring a whole brand new universe that you've created, to take the villain and recycle him, I like what they did with him, but now they're also, again, jumping way ahead. They're setting him up to, again, be the villain in the next one, where
Yeah.
it's like, let's move on past this. Let's have a new struggle for our main characters, rather than it's just this guy just won't fucking die.
He may or may not come back. I know it's obviously very
also-
well set up that
he
he'll
also
come back.
might have a different trajectory. He might not be the villain going forward.
That's what I figured
but
it might
He
be.
did
But
say, I will say this, he did say he read all of the scripts up till 4, I think he said, and he said 4 is undoubtedly the best one, he says, out of the new ones, and that he's the villain all the way up until at least the end of 4.
That's fucking crazy.
So, like I said, I don't know what they're gonna do with him, but I hope they go the Kylo Ren route, where now that he's a Na'vi, he starts to empathize with he's called to the light as
Yeah.
opposed to being the villain.
he starts hearing, what's their god? Yewa?
Something like that.
Yahweh.
Yahweh. It is just Yahweh.
Yahweh.
It's the same thing with
Yeah.
Neo is the one. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yewa, Yahweh.
Y'all popped open the Bible.
Yeah.
Page 32 was the first name we got. The act 1 of this movie acts like the epilogue from the first movie. and I was kind of annoyed with it. But then when I saw how much that context that builds for Act 2, I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine, because it was kind of slow in the beginning. But then I was like, well, I haven't seen a movie in a while that isn't a franchise, so I don't already know the characters. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, there was action in the beginning.
Yeah, there was. I definitely wasn't bored. I just wasn't engaged with the with the meat of the story yet. Where I kind of feel like,
well, there wasn't any at that point.
Yeah,
like you introduced a villain and then you didn't have conflict.
It wasn't until they got to
the train, when they destroyed that train.
When they got
really
to the
mad.
train, yeah.
I don't know why you were just getting really upset when they destroyed the train.
Yeah, I was
Pat
fucking
loves
mad.
the train.
Well, you know, Disney, they just had to fit in one more fucking train sequence.
Yeah.
Like, and not that I have a problem with train sequences, because they do.
But
they
just
are
don't
spectacle.
damage the train. You gotta keep it in nice, pristine
Exactly.
working order.
I don't want to
There's
see
no
no train blow up.
There's no reason to unseat the track. What happened to the engineer, huh?
He was a robot, Pat.
Yeah, it was all automated.
Drone train.
Drone train.
I don't like how they do that.
It's maglev.
They're putting engineers out of work.
Yeah, right.
It's horseshit.
Hard-working engineers who don't get a single day off of work
Yeah,
ever.
you get one sick day a year.
Protest yourself into unemployment. So,
Act 1 though had a lot of obviously just sweeping cinematic visual sequences.
they're
'Cause,
building the world.
You're gonna be like, he walks out and he just slaps his dick on the table for the first half hour and is like, this is what technology
James
can really
Cameron
do.
or Jake Sully?
James Cameron.
you know, I've come to
He
appreciate.
didn't have a swimming tail though.
I've come to appreciate the 3-hour runtime, because it truly is an Act 1, 2, and 3 structure.
And it really gives you a challenge to just hold your bladder tight for the whole
Really
thing.
get that kidney infection.
honestly, it wasn't that bad. But when I had, it wasn't like I was bursting.
That guy
at the
that was
seams.
sitting next to you, though.
Jesus
Oh
Christ,
my
that guy got up
God.
4 times.
Yeah.
Twice before the movie started.
And when he got up, I was like, "No, dude, you got to see it again now. Don't you know?
You're gonna have to do this all over again.
Yeah, fucking idiot, come
I
back."
miss it.
All right, so yeah, stay on the villain, stay on target here.
The villain is the guy in our row that kept getting up.
He was the real villain of the
Thank you,
story.
Liz.
He really was.
He could have stepped on my foot scar.
Ooh, we could have.
I could have had a villain.
We could have had a
origin
real
story.
Could have
emergency.
had a real emergency.
But yeah, Stephen Lang's performance once again,
He's so good.
incredible.
The
He's
right
great.
again, the writing wasn't as corny, but they always give him zingers and one-liners. It's
Yeah.
but nobody talks like that.
But I feel like that's James Cameron's Terminator side. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
Where
He's like, can I
I'll
make
be
him say
back."
I'll be back?
Yeah,
Yeah,
or even some of the what's it called? Some of James Bond's most classic lines. You seen that TikTok, right?
I don't think so.
What?
You'll have to show me it.
What? All right, never mind. Bad joke. Well, I'll show you later. But yeah, I feel like that's the catchphrase James Cameron, "I'll be back" sort of, persona. So once
Campiness
again,
that you need,
I went in there and I watched it, and it was exactly what is James Cameron dialogue.
James Cameron.
So the one thing I appreciate about James Cameron movies is that no matter how much time is in between them, it always feels like he's with the times. You know what I mean?
He's current.
Yeah, all the film technique he was using in this movie to shoot stuff. Not only was he doing shit that they invented within the past 10 years or figured out, he was doing new shit that he figured out himself. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like he shot this movie that's a sequel to a movie from 2009 that was supposed to come out in 2014 or whatever. It feels like a movie that should be out with current day technology, and they shot this 4 years ago. So imagine what the 5th and 6th one would look like.
So there were clips in the beginning that were what's the bad guy's name?
Quaritch.
How do you spell that?
Colonel Quaritch. Quarich.
Okay, I'm just gonna call him
porridge, but Q.
but Quaritch. Okay, QAnon porridge. Quaritch. There was clips of him as a younger man, and there was also clips of Sigourney Weaver and Norm.
Yeah.
Were those de-aged, or were those clips that they shot just a while ago?
It could have been both, that they just fucking, they just Carrie Fishered her out of the shot
right.
and put her in something, or and it could have been de-aging too.
Yeah. Like that whole part where he's like, "What am I supposed to be saying?" And
or what about the whole part with Sigourney Weaver shows up halfway through the movie she looks like
fantastic.
Let's wait and get to that.
So all right, but yeah. So as far as the villain's concerned, we should talk about his son, I guess. So the monkey man, Spider. So Spider is a human character.
Monkey. I just got it. I just got
it. No, I just got it.
Are you guys kidding me?
I thought it was just like, at first when they said it, I was like, Spider? Okay, is he like, a biker? Like, like he's got a tattoo of mom on his shoulder.
You guys want to hear something really lame?
Yeah. Do you have a tattoo of mom?
No. Was it senior year of high school or freshman year of college?
You were like, everybody call me Spider from now on.
Did you actually?
I didn't say that, but what I said was...
I walked around with spiders. I was
absolutely destroyed. And what I said was, at the time, because, I was out of my mind, I was like, when I get a record deal, I want my nickname to be Spider. Bruh. I can absolutely picture that. Here's the thing. When I told one of my friends this years later, he started cracking up and he goes, "Well, it couldn't have been anything else." I was like, "I know, dude. That was gonna be it. That was gonna be my nickname. That was the name I have chosen." And all
right, I'm not gonna dead name you anymore. I'm just gonna call you Spider.
All right, Spider.
From that day moving forward, nobody called me Spider.
No kidding.
So
you don't say.
People have went out of their way to not call you Spider.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting to. Is that like, not only would this dream never go, not only was this outburst impulse thing I said while have drinking at my friend's house on Christmas break, like, incorrect or like not even a possibility, but like, I remember being like, "That's it. Like, that's the name."
That's
like,
it.
You're just so hell-bent. You're like, you spoke a truth. Yeah. Is what you did.
I spoke truth to power in that one moment.
This was always true. I just didn't know it until this very moment.
Imagine Pat's just like ripped and like looking around the room, and there's like a spider web in the corner, and he's like, "Guys,
it's a sign from above.
That's me. I'm Spider."
I always wanted to be the dude with Pat. Nickname
in quotes.
Spider. Never. Wanted a jersey.
You wanted to be PSN, PlayStation Network.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to get my hand tattooed like a big tarantula.
You get a spider web on the back of your hand.
No,
do some time.
I get a rose on my left hand. How original!
You're gonna get Spiders and Roses, my favorite band.
So anyway, this kid's name is Spider. Me.
Billy from Stranger Things.
Is that him?
It looked like him, but I don't think it was him.
No, it was not him.
No.
He is, I think his name is Jack Champion. And
that's a name. That's a porn name, right?
He's Jack Spider Champion.
So our fun fact we learned in the car on the way home is he spent his entirety of his teenage years working on Avatar 2.
What?
That shot this movie for 4 years.
That makes sense because there are
a teenager for longer than that.
There are some scenes where he's like significantly more like muscular,
more of a man.
And I was like, oh, okay. How did you age up 3 years right
now? They shot it
14. Because he aged up 3 years.
He is literally now 18. They started filming when he was 14.
Oh, that's funny.
But when did they stop filming?
4 years ago.
When did they start filming?
Principal photography ended in 2018.
Okay.
But as far as the visual effects are concerned...
No. I'm not talking about visual effects. When was
How old was he when they started and then end?
You guys are missing the point, though. His body proportions are constantly changing throughout the movie because they're trying to keep him consistent with visual effects. That might not even be his real body in
his
scenes.
Real gutters.
So it doesn't matter when principal photography started and ended.
I'm sorry. I don't care if he's 18 years old now. Please don't say that about him.
Gotta bring it back.
What?
I said those gutters might not even be real.
Oh my God. No, this is not the episode to bring back gutters on.
They brought back, I just started watching the second half of season 6 of Rick and Morty. They brought back gutters on season 6.
They've been listening to us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gutters was the original. Yeah. I started saying gutters based on a joke on Rick and Morty.
I think we all did, yeah.
I didn't know which gutter, what?
There was the train episode. You should know. It was the train episode
where everybody's jacked
and they all have cum gutters.
And they're like, yeah, look at the cum gutters on him.
And then this season 6, there somebody says gutters, and Rick's like, I don't like that phrase.
I haven't watched the new stuff yet.
This season's really good.
I saw some clips of the vertical lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Where it just falls straight down through the earth. I watched that TikTok.
Yeah. Spider. Thank you, guys.
Spider.
Keeping us on track.
So Spider. So his whole thing with Quaritch is that he's Quaritch's son that got left here however many years ago when he died.
Did he have like a wife on world on planet or anything, or like
no?
We just don't even care.
We don't need that for the story there.
Also, he's just like, fuck it.
So
my kid's staying here.
So he was dead. So
that's right. He did die.
He died.
Yeah.
So his son was left on the base
in the science lab.
In the science lab, and his real name is Miles.
He's really feral for growing up in a science lab.
Yeah.
Well, until he was 4, 3 or 4.
I'm saying he should have been a nerd. He shouldn't have.
Well, no, but he spent all his time in the jungle.
He's friends with the Sullys. They live next door.
You know, the friendly neighborhood Sullys. They stick together.
So
I like how they described him as like a feral cat.
Yeah,
that's what he is.
Yeah. So he wears a loincloth the whole movie. And
great visual on the gutters.
Yes, perfect. Get it right in frame.
Painting him blue makes him go faster.
Yeah. That was kind of weird. So like, how does he keep up with them?
It's literally Tarzan. He is Tarzan.
Tarzan.
That is just his character.
All right. I'm fair. That's fair. I'll accept that. I'll accept the Tarzan.
It's the same
guy.
plot line too. Like Turk and the other monkeys take him in.
Oh yeah.
And then the leader is
they go to a camp, they tear it up, they sing while they're doing it.
And then the leader is like, he'll never be one of us.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So the first one was Pocahontas. This one's just Tarzan.
Well, that aspect.
Yeah.
But also Dances with Wolves.
Yes. The sequel to Dances with Wolves.
We didn't get any Costner ass though.
Yeah.
Not yet.
He's
still. But it's on the way.
Wait for Avatar 3.
If Kevin Costner gets a role in any of the Avatar movies, I will literally scream in the theater when he comes on screen.
If he is a Navi, we will get to see his blue ass.
That's what I'm waiting for.
All right.
So, speaking of blue asses, let's move on to the Sullys. The Sullys are great. I like Jake as a father. I like Sam Worthington's performance. Like we said before, Zoe Saldana doesn't really do too much, but she was still...
Her performance when she was there was great.
Yeah, it was great. The kids are not annoying. I feel like I get the reason why they made Sigourney Weaver the kid, because that one kid is the clone of her. Like, I get that.
Is the Immaculate Conception child of... She's not a clone. She's actually a child of a dead Avatar.
Well, no, that Avatar isn't real though. That's the synthetic one that they made for Sigourney Weaver's body. Remember, you saw the titty in the beginning?
There's an Avatar, and then there's a Navi. A Navi is a native-born alien, and an Avatar is an Avatar.
Yeah.
The one that they had in the lab was the one that died at the end of Avatar 1.
Yeah, but that is an Avatar. That's Sigourney Weaver's body.
Nobody impregnated that Avatar. It died.
Yeah, so it's a clone. They cloned it.
No, they didn't. Why would they clone a dead? Like, there's no. They're not.
It's her. It's the Avatar, and it's Sigourney Weaver's DNA. That's why she calls it Mother. That's why she goes to the tank and sits on it and rocks back and forth.
I think it's. My assumption was they took the body that they were trying to move Sigourney Weaver's consciousness into that body at the end of the first one she gets shot.
Yeah.
And they were trying to pass her consciousness into the Avatar body, and then she was too hurt, I guess, and then her consciousness went into Yewa, and then the body was just there, and it didn't come to life. I assumed they just took that body and put it in the tank, and then it was pregnant. Like, why would they make another Sigourney Weaver and then impregnate it? So we'll have a kid, you know what I mean? Because they did show it pregnant at one point.
Wait, who?
But when it was in the tank after she was born already.
No, I think it was like a flashback to before she was born.
No, in the beginning of the movie, the kids in Spider go see the scientist for the nostalgia trip.
Yes,
from the cast, and the Sigourney Weaver's Avatar gets on Sigourney Weaver's Avatar's tank.
Before that, Sigourney Weaver's Avatar is pregnant.
Oh, that's and floating in the tank.
And floating in the tank.
With the titty.
So it's the kid.
You were too focused on the titty.
You're absolutely right.
The kid is not a clone. The kid is an actual like a real birthed child.
Wow.
But from an immaculate conception of a dead Avatar.
Yes.
That's
why she's got Jesus powers.
Which is
this all makes so much more sense.
Wow.
Thank you, Nick.
Holy shit. We went that whole movie like that's the clone. Like
you didn't okay, so you said that in the car. You're like, it's a clone. And I'm like, I don't think it's a clone. But I just like went along with that. I was like, maybe I missed something.
fucking Avatar police are coming to arrest me right now.
James Cameron. No, you fuck
He's
up
like,
my
you didn't
movie.
get my movie.
Wait, so can I say my one problem with that?
Let's hear it.
How jarring was it to hear Sigourney Weaver's voice on what should be like a 14-year-old?
15-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, they pitched it up, but she's just got too many years of smoking in there. That's,
It's also, I mean, you know, she has like gravitas to her
She's
voice.
an icon.
Yeah.
You can't hide an icon's voice. All
No.
I hear is "Get away from her, you bitch!" Whenever she opens up her mouth, like you know.
I did have a problem with that character though, because it was set up in a way, or she was set up in a way where it was like she's doing all these weird things basically, and I mean, like you just kind of like figure out what's happening with it, and it's like then it saves the day.
Right.
was-
So you're saying there was a setup to the payoff?
No, but I feel it was a bad setup.
No,
I think it was a bad setup.
I think
It was kind of corny.
I think upon retrospect, like in hindsight, when you realize what was going on, it's clever. But in the moment, you're like, "Why are we wasting our time with this?"
Well, it doesn't. It didn't really click until she went into the sea thingy, like the sea tree, and
Why
then, like, you
are
saw
we wasting
into
our
it.
time with this neurodivergence? What is going on?
like I
right
was like,
now?
I was like,
Okay.
this girl is just swimming some fish around here. I was like, okay, cool. So I guess she can control shit.
Yeah,
Like she has psychic power, like, you know.
So I guess now
soul
we
power,
should.
but-
she's the water avatar.
She's the one. Oh my god.
She's the water bender.
Shit. They were of like an earth tribe, and
Yeah.
now they're going to the water tribe.
And
Holy
then next
shit.
is the volcano tribe.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
the
I don't
Fire
know.
Nation
Oh, also,
attacked.
And they got the floating mountains that are just up those. That's the air
Oh
tribe.
god, okay.
Yep. Okay, go on.
Let's talk about when she went on her vision quest and had a seizure.
Okay, so what was up with that?
That was her interfacing with God.
Yeah.
Because she's a messiah.
Yes.
And I like that they
This
were
makes so much more
I like
sense.
that they were basically
See, I
like,
thought she was a clone and she was illegitimate. So when she hooked up to the server, they were like, "Fuck you, get out of here. You're not part."
No.
And I was like, "Yo, it's gonna come out that she's a clone, and then she's gonna." I was like, "She's gonna betray, and the oldest one's gonna die." That's how I thought that it was gonna end.
I like that they were just like, yeah, she has epilepsy. That's why they're
Yeah.
explaining it. And I was like, no, she has schizophrenia. Like,
No, she's the son of God.
yeah, schizophrenia. Like,
They did hire that one person to tell us.
Liz, what'd you say?
So sorry for that.
They did hire that one person to tell us that if she ever does it again, she's gonna die.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he was in the first movie.
was in
His
the
name
first
is
one,
Max.
But that was his single line in this film.
They had a couple people like that in this movie.
Norm.
Besides for what's going on, Spider.
Hey,
when he sees him
Spider.
in the lab. So, after what should we talk about the whale?
Can we talk
The
about
whale
funny
friend?
parts? Can we talk about
Yeah,
like
let's go to the funny parts.
Oh God, the fucking.
so there's random lower thirds and like subtitles kind
The
of at different
most
parts of the
random
movie.
parts.
The first one that comes up with Three Brothers Islands or whatever, or whatever that is.
Three Brother
Brothers-
Rock. Or
Three
something.
Brother Rock. Yeah, everything else in the entire does not say like where we are, what's going on outside of like this is this tribe or something like that. And then it's just like here's the single location and we're gonna bring it up later when the thing comes to
when
attack.
they say it multiple times later, they want to spoon feed the audience. Whereas,
Yeah, but you-
Oh, they could have done.
you could have
just
done with a
show
big
one.
pan-
yeah,
yeah.
wide shot of 3 huge rocks, and then later on we
we're
would
out
have
by the
gotten
three
it.
Yeah.
rocks, and it's like great, cool.
yeah, I laughed out loud when I saw the Three Brother
Dude,
Rock.
can we talk about the whales though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole first movie did set it up where it's like you have telepathic, connection by putting your tentacles together.
They're
And a
red
mommy
rockets.
Navi and a
Yeah,
baby.
you can interface and telepathically communicate with everything on this planet. And now they're having full on conversations with whales, and the whales get subtitles. That was so stupid.
Yeah, I was laughing really hard at that because it really is a dumb concept, but It's a dumb concept, but once again, somehow though the whale had a lot of character, like the one whale that we know,
Yeah.
And also,
But they could have communicated that without actual words. He didn't need to say like,
It's
"Oh, I was
too
just on
painful.
I was just on vacation, and I just had a kid. How was your kid?"
It reminds me of Baxter in God, what's the fucking movie? Anchorman.
Oh, yeah.
But he's like, "You will always be a friend of the bears," like in the subtitles, and it's just clearly a bear that has been fucking comped in, and a dog that has been just one's barking and the other one's just roaring.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
That was I agree with you, Nick. It was just like you don't have to like you can make them be like your soul sister, and it's just you have like a very strong emotional connection to this animal. But if you're like, she composed songs that we sung together,
dude, that was so. And all they had to do, rather than say that, is have the song, have the whale like sing a whale song, and then later on show the Na'vi singing like that melody
During the funeral.
There you go.
Well,
during the funeral.
During the funeral would have been great.
Wait, but they do explain that like these whales are smarter than us, and they like think about like
I get that.
There's a
theories.
difference between like this thing has more neurons in its brain, and then it's like it has complex thought and had a Baroque period of its history. Like it's like that I don't need. You know,
and it's like all those things can be true. They still shouldn't be speaking full sentences.
Yeah, and
they're
you
whales.
realize
it should
that
be
there
an
is like
empathetic.
there is
Yes.
a whale awakening at some point that these whales are like, oh, we can think outside of
Dude,
instinct.
not on top of that, it's like they had a creed where it's like we used to kill and now we don't. As a
they're
society,
like
we do not
monks.
kill.
As the whale society, no killing.
We have all signed to the treaty that we will no longer kill.
He is a killer, and that is why he's an outcast.
My mom wants to chime in.
Okay.
First of all, the sirens that we're hearing is actually Santa Claus coming for Pat. Not is it? It's not only the
It's for
Avatar.
Pat?
It's the Avatar.
They're like,
police,
"Pat,
and
get on
he's
the
committing
truck."
fraud.
I'm a patatar of Santa Claus right now.
I'm a Santa Pat.
And my mom
Pavatar.
says,
Patatar.
my mom,
Benatar.
who saw the movie with us, says, very smart whales, new sign language, English, and local languages.
That's true. That's
True.
very true.
It's true.
Then they're like, I don't know what you're fucking saying with your hands.
Liz's mom, who's read 100 books, so she knows every story archetype, every way to tell a story, which way possible. She was in the car on the way home. She goes, "Well, it was very predictable." I was like, "Okay, damn, all right. You don't come to these things much, but I guess if you're saying it too, it's got to be
Honestly,
true."
I wish we had her on mic right now.
We
We snaw.
Okay, so big act 3, big act, final act, 3 act. What is it? Act 3 final reveal or whatever.
Did you just like shut down?
I don't know.
Act 3, 3 acts.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Big act, third act
was-
reveal.
Well, that's to your mom's point. There were so many things that were like, I'll see you later.
yeah.
Well,
I don't
honestly,
feel like
I didn't
there
think
was,
we were going to see the whale again until later, but they actually
Yeah.
made him a character, which was cool.
Yeah.
Santa is really
Dude.
coming
He's
for
right
you.
there. He is. Oh
It's
shit!
Santa.
He's right there.
Oh shit, there
Oh
he is.
shit!
I have it. My mom.
Wave,
sent me
Nick,
pictures.
wave,
She's out
wave,
there.
wave.
Liz, your mom's out there waving at the trucks.
Yes, they already
Rescue
sent me.
me.
They sent me a picture, so we can include that on.
Oh, cool.
I love it.
I'll put it in.
We got Santa. Christmas is officially here.
Do you want to hold that up?
I don't know if you can see that.
There's a new,
That's my mom trying to
Oh.
meet Santa. Santa. I
there's a
know.
new Avatar movie. It's December. Santa's driving down. It's Christmas this year,
Jesus
boys.
is born.
So
Jesus.
is-
Christ has died. Christ has risen.
No, that's Easter.
Sorry. When do you think they're going to kill Sigourney
Jesus.
Weaver's character and bring her back?
third movie into the fourth movie.
Okay,
how
it'll
could
be a
movie
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So big action sequence.
Are you talking are we skipping all the way to the end now?
No. This is the one in Act 2 where they fuck up the whales, and then they draw out the Na'vi. That first one right there, the Na'vi, when the Na'vis finally fight the humans, or I guess the other Na'vi, the Avatars.
Yeah,
right?
well, and humans, the whale poachers guy.
Yeah, those
True.
guys too. Flight of the Conchords.
It's like before you even get into it, what a waste of Jame Clement.
I know.
Why would you put him? And they made him have an American accent.
Yeah, he had like.
Meanwhile, the other guy in the ship had either an Australian or New Zealand accent.
Maybe that was just for laughs. They're like, you're gonna be American, and this guy's gonna be from New Zealand.
They made him the boring character. Make him the poacher. Like he would have killed it.
He also yes. He also was like the moral good, like marine biologist who's I guess like working on here, and it's just like I was like, there's no depth to your character. You're just like a little pissy boy.
I really thought he was gonna team up with Spider because there was that moment where they were kind of on the same page, like they didn't like the way the whales were being mistreated.
Yeah,
and then he just wound up just being a like spineless
like
lackey.
I told you so.
What'd you think of the fucking arm?
That was the best moment in the whole movie.
That was
the whole
awesome.
audience lit up.
Yeah, I was like applause worthy moment. They earned it on that one because here's the thing: is that it's something that was because of the way it was set up and executed, like the way that the actual. First of all, it was from a character that was having their comeuppance. Number one with the whale, it was
icon.
It was, and it was the other guys who were finally getting what they deserved, and it was the strategy, the grace of jumping over and everything.
Free Willy.
Yeah, Free Willy style.
Yeah,
then,
he took his art.
Shit!
Yeah.
Did you guys not read?
Come on, are you serious?
I didn't even pick up on that. That makes it so much better.
Yeah.
It's literally
Sounds-
like the entire
That's why it was such a
emotional weight.
big moment.
That's why it wasn't like
because
his whole
like
head.
the part where it's like this and it zooms right in on his arm. Like I was like, oh shit!
I did. I totally missed that, but that's so amazing.
There's also, I mean, because it reminds you guys ever see that movie Ghost Ship? It's
No.
a really
Yes.
bad horror film.
Yes.
You know what scene I'm talking about with the dance floor where the
It's-
wire
yes.
swings down and cuts through all these people on the dance floor.
Cool.
I thought that was gonna happen. I was like, Disney would never let them eviscerate all of these people like on this.
That
like,
would've
Yeah,
been cool.
in
I was
half.
like, however, this what's it called? That was just as cool because storytelling, symbolism, and like just the way they built up to it. Like first it was the 1 and then the 2 and then they pull in and then finally, so good.
There's so much revenge in this like entire movie. Like that itself is just cathartic revenge.
Setup and payoff. Man.
Set up.
So
That's
you're
twice
saying
now.
You can have setup and payoff without
That was
it being
Chekhov's
revenge.
arm.
Yeah, I like the balloons. So I was like, oh, Jaws, that's fun.
Oh yeah.
They're like the barrels.
Yeah.
Nice little.
What'd you think about the crab walkers?
So cool.
Cool
I laughed
design.
so hard because I was like, that's totally something James Cameron just wants to invent in the real world, so he can
So he can go and like
travel
so he can
the
go to the
ocean
Titanic.
floor.
He can go to the Titanic
Yeah.
and like creep around.
It is interesting to see like little droplets of his like movie making DNA. So much boat stuff and undersea exploring, little submarines. All the tech felt like very Terminator.
Well,
a lot of alien stuff.
That's
It's like
well, that was the cool.
he knows his lane.
Yeah, I feel like that's why it came off because like this is the shit where I'm looking at was like this is if I designed a boat to whale, this is what it would be. If I designed submarines to go through the ocean, this is how I would do it. You know what I mean? And like he has the know-how because the motherfucker went to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. He submarines for fun. Okay. Like
How
Rich
brutal
bastard.
was the moment where the submarine windshield broke and they're like struggling to put on their masks? That was so intense.
There's a lot
there's
of
a
moments
lot
like
of
that. Yeah.
intense, almost drowning in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that made me really uncomfortable because you guys know me. I don't like the open ocean at all. I'm fucking done on cruises.
you're the opposite of DJ Khaled.
What's his
Remember
problem?
that time he got stranded at sea because he went too far out with a jet
Yeah.
ski and he couldn't find his way back to shore?
I feel like he just come back the other way though.
He didn't know which way was shore. He was so far out he couldn't see it.
What the
So I think he
fuck?
was just like on Snapchat or on Instagram and is like posting like, I don't know where I am.
Oh,
like
yeah,
Somebody help.
So they blow up. So the whale they fuck up the one boat. The Na'vi successfully defend their homeland, and then it's what I liked about the ending of this movie was it was very reminiscent of Captain America: Civil War in the sense that the large political conflict was squashed between both parties at the end of Act 2, like the airport scene between both teams and the water scene between both the Na'vi and I think they're called the RGA or something like that. What are they called?
The Water Tribe?
No, the
humans,
the Marines.
The Marines. I think they're
Oh.
called the
Project
RGA
Phoenix
or something
or whatever
like
they
that.
had,
Yeah.
like,
You're
written
saying
on-
the beef was squashed?
But I'm saying the battle, like the political beef was squashed.
And then it was a personal battle.
Then it was a personal
Gotcha.
battle where in Civil War it was Tony, Cap, and Steve. And that
Cap and Steve?
Captain
Bucky.
Steve.
Bucky. Captain Steve. So
Also had people missing arms. It's very much
Yeah,
like
true.
Civil War.
Very reminiscent.
They're gonna
So,
get a call.
So then it became personal, and the way that Neytiri and Jake clear that boat afterwards, like the sunken ship,
Oh, dude.
that was so fucking cool.
It was so unnecessary.
Whenever unnecessary.
Unnecessary. I was thrilled,
Dude, are you kidding?
Oh! Are you talking about when they like?
No. When they're killing all of like the
Yes.
the
Okay.
Marines.
I thought I was ahead of you.
Yeah. No.
Wait, what's the unnecessary
he
part?
thinks like
There's
when
two.
she's
There's
saved.
two sequences that I thought were unnecessary, or were likely the parts where the studio said this needs to be trimmed down, and James Cameron said, "Fuck you."
Okay.
It was the scene where Sigourney Weaver's Jesus clone baby was just exploring the ocean for an incredibly long time with no dialogue.
Yeah.
And then there was the battle, Jake and QAnon Quelch, what's his name?
Quaritch.
Jake and Quaritch, and like they already just had a huge action scene, the one that you guys are thinking of, and then there's like another action scene, and then the boat flips over, and now we got to traverse the upside down boat, and like that went on for way too long.
I was in it because I love the idea of this juxtaposition where Neytiri and the kid are like climbing over obstacles and struggling to like get away out of the boat, while Jake and Quaritch just don't give a shit and they're destroying everything while the water, and like the only time they take to break is to when the water pockets up and they take one last breath. Like that, I felt like that was really fucking like tense up until that point, because I love when they're both breathing heavy and they're like, "You ready?" Yeah, they both go under.
And then
I
they
was
underwater
like,
punch each other.
Yeah.
I just think that like it was cool. It just this is the one spot where I will say self-indulgent. That whole that whole battle sequence into the fight sequence into the upside down boats, that was a long
It felt like Man of
sequence.
Steel. You guys remember Man of Steel? Man of Steel is almost like a 3-hour movie, and the first half of it is like nothing, and then the second half is
nonstop.
3 huge action sequences, one after another, and it's just the worst pace of that movie. It's the worst.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
I do think that was a bit long.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Okay, but you're kind of skipping over why that turned into like a personal battle. You haven't
Yeah.
even touched on.
I did skip ahead. So like you can go back to like when they were clearing all the soldiers.
Dude,
from the
whenever
deck.
she is shooting somebody with that bow, just like the impact of all of those was so satisfying.
Yeah.
Like when she shot like pilots
I love when the arrow hit the one guy in the eye and Quaritch sees the feather on the arrow, and the kids just go, "It's mom!"
Why? I don't understand what like they're like. Oh, it's your calling card.
It's her.
It's an arrow.
All of her
All of her arrows
peacock
have the
feathers.
feathers on them.
It was her dad.
Do they not use feathers?
Hers used peacock feathers, like or whatever.
Whatever
peacock-looking
feather
feathers.
she has she's the only one that has that feather, because
That's stupid.
Well, it's also what killed him in the first one.
Yeah, but also it's like I was like, okay, so what is different about this feather? And we haven't seen anybody else's arrows.
That's
We haven't
fair.
seen
They
it
could've-
like no.
Just
the
all
feather
touch.
in his body in
Okay.
the beginning of the movie.
Uh-huh,
When
I
he
get
sees
that.
it, he sees that feather.
Okay, how does he know that
But,
that
yeah,
means that
it's
she's
so-
the only one with that feather?
Yeah, it's not like he
I
sees.
see
It's
what
not
you're
like he
saying.
sees 6 arrows that have white feathers, and
Yeah,
this has a green feather, and it's
Yeah.
got her name carved in it.
No,
Like,
no. But he sees that feather later on. That's what she's like.
I just think it
yeah.
didn't need to be a through
I owe
line.
you a death. Like
That was a cool one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was like didn't need to be there. It could have just been like he was smart enough to realize it was her.
yeah.
He literally watched the footage of her shooting the arrow into him. He didn't need to be like, well, this kind of arrow is Neytiri's arrow.
Or if they showed the footage first and then he made the connection,
Yeah.
that's fine. But it's like, he made the connection prior to all of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's nitpicky. That's very
It's
nitpicky.
yes, I agree. Very nitpicky.
Yeah, but good. All that after that.
That action sequence where he like blows up the helicopter. It was definitely irresponsible of him to blow up a helicopter right over where his kids are being held captive.
That'll be fine.
That sequence where they're clearing the decks was awesome.
I love Neytiri's ult in this. Just fly really high and then dive bomb and fire arrows into the cockpit.
So good.
Which I guess you would learn how to do after the first movie because that's how they beat them all. In the they went from the top down.
What do you think about that moment where Neytiri's like killing everybody and Spider's watching around the corner and she looks up and he's like, oh shit, I don't want to be in her line of sight right now.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I mean, it did
she's kind of like an animal though.
Yeah.
Well,
her
she just lost her eldest son.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. We just got to the personal moment.
The personal moment.
Well, no, it was personal before that because Quaritch was killed by Neytiri.
Well, but now it's personal on both ends.
This is what made her more of like primal. I mean, she was always like about we need to kill him, we need revenge, we need this, and this really gave her that like.
Can I ask a question? Are they? I mean, I feel like in the first movie, the Na'vi, regardless of the fact that they are without a doubt the good guys, like in that movie, I feel like they're still framed like animals.
Well, because they're more in tune with nature.
Yeah. They're not societal in a traditional way, and like that, like But it's
you get what I'm saying though, right?
But that's their
I feel like in this one overall, they're a little less feral.
They're almost framed as uncivilized, right. Well, that's the framing of the story is like the invading forces are like, oh, these savages.
Yeah.
Right.
This is where we get the Pocahontas.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just because
the colors of the wind, Nick.
to Nick's point, it's like they're more in tune with the everything. So they're not like I need guns or computers or all of this.
We already have such an easy way of life, a simple way of life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, when eldest son, whose name I don't know if any of us would remember, when he dies, she just goes into fucking primal rage and starts fucking up everyone, and it's amazing.
Yeah, she's sick.
I think his name was like Matei or something.
I think his name was Nestor.
Matteo.
Nestor
Yeah.
is
Italian.
But I wish they gave him more lines because I felt like
it's actually
that's why
it's Donald.
It was
a mix
so clear.
Of Gordon and Donald. It's Donald.
As soon as he got shot, it was
Donald.
like it clicked in my head. I was like, that's why we got so few scenes with him. They didn't want us to connect with him, and like we wanted to connect to the characters that are going to be around for the other movies.
Or like he served his purpose of just being a loss, not being a character that you love.
Exactly.
But
he's also set up to be like that. That's why, like, as soon as I saw the way it was always the younger brother, I was like, the older brother's gonna die. I go, it's gotta happen.
Well, that's because he saved him so many times,
right? But now that's the character for the younger brother is I have to now take the place.
But wouldn't it make sense to give the audience something to latch onto and care about the older brother? So when he dies, it's impactful rather than like I'm glad it's not the brother that I actually like.
But notice how we haven't mentioned Kate Winslet yet.
Who is Kate Winslet?
She's the fucking mother. She's the queen of the fish people.
No shit. I did not know.
It looks exactly like her.
Oh, it didn't sound like her.
I ever see a picture of her? She looks like a fish lady, Nick.
Kate Winslet broke a world record for holding her breath. Beat Tom Cruise's world record for holding her breath.
Tom Cruise had the world record for holding his breath?
Yeah, for Mission Impossible 5.
Mission Impossible.
For like on an acting set.
Yeah, on an acting set.
Yeah, the real world record is like 26 minutes.
For holding your breath?
Yep.
There are people that are actually
there are people that do like the Wim Hof method and all that kind of shit that you just like built different.
Wildcat looks that up.
24 minutes, yeah.
24 minutes.
Okay, so Kate Winslet broke a record she held her breath for 7 minutes underwater to film some of her scenes, right? I don't even think she's in this movie for 7 minutes.
I don't think she's underwater in this movie
for 7 minutes.
1 minute. Like
does she ever go in the water?
She does.
Oh, when she's talking to the whale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, kind of a loss, I guess. I was excited to see her in this, but I guess she was in that movie. She was in that show too, so I guess I shouldn't have expected to see her in this.
Do you think Leonardo DiCaprio is going to make an appearance in the Avatar series?
I think if he doesn't, then he's kind of a coward.
All right, look right into the camera and call
which
him
one?
Out.
This one?
Yeah.
All right,
the
Leo,
one facing you.
Talk all this shit about the environment. We gotta, don't nuke the whales, save the planet, no polluting. I'm with you. I'm all for it. But if that is the case, my guy, we know you're not into summer blockbusters. You don't want to do the Marvel movies. That's fine. You know, we know you told Timothy Chalamet all that. Get on Avatar though. All right, put your money where your mouth is.
Your best friend Kate Winslet's doing it.
She's doing it. All right, work with James
best
Cameron
friend
again.
James Cameron's doing
all right,
it.
you guys don't got to sink any boats.
Well, actually, they did sink a boat.
You don't got to shoot at anybody
Like
working in
multiple
a diamond mine. You don't got to live out in the woods.
They do.
You just got to go to
There are no
Disney,
bears.
get in a tank of water, you know, and
Swim
just
around a little
pretend you're a blue guy.
Or
you
he
know?
could be a soldier. He doesn't even have to be a blue guy.
True. Or, you know, you could play the same guy you played from Blood Diamond. Just you're out in the diamonds in Pandora now.
What if he was grown up Spider? What if he's like a middle-aged Spider?
I don't endorse any of this.
That's a big
Time
age jump right there.
Yeah, okay. There's 7 more movies they got to do.
Fair.
Can you let this kid have his
They don't
teenage
look
years back?
alike at all.
It's fine.
Who's
I
this?
get you.
Kate Winslet and her Navi.
You know what we were robbed of in the very
got a lot of
beginning
chin.
Yeah,
of
that's what I'm
the
saying.
movie?
Why?
What didn't we get? What didn't we get at the very start of the movie?
Not cussy.
Heartbreak feels good here, Pat.
Oh, that's right.
Wasn't that like she's back for like the Avatar?
Yeah, that was the thing. And like here I thought she was going to be blue and everything. And nope, not at all.
Where's the tweet? I'm finding the tweet. It's
I
very
wanted
important.
it. I wanted it so bad.
When you texted before the movie, but like before we met up, my phone, I had my phone because I was driving. It was reading. It was like text from Mike Burke. And I had it read it, and it was like, let's get this Navuse.
All right, you guys. We got to wrap it up in like within the next 5-10 minutes here. So let's get anything out
I
that
thought we were
wanna
going
talk
for
about.
3 hours, just like the movie.
Wrong again. Well, yeah. I mean, somebody's Taco Bell order took a little bit too long. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
so
we said what we wanted.
yeah. Anything else as far as spoilers are concerned? For me, ultimately, I just want to get it out there. I never hated the first Avatar. I liked it as soon as I watched it. I didn't give a fuck what anybody said. And exactly what I expected to happen in this one as far as like expectations of quality and everything. It met those. I was thrilled. It looks incredible. And the same complaints I have about the first one, the same complaints I have about this one, but
to a lesser degree.
To a lesser degree, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I really don't have too much else to say.
The first movie dragged at the end. This one, although it was longer, it went much like it chugged
Didn't
along
feel
the whole time.
Yeah.
Didn't feel the runtime, which is good because I feel like we watched a lot of movies recently that are long, especially like when you think about like the Snyder Cut or you think about Endgame or what's another big one that we watched recently.
Batman was long.
Batman.
But
Good Will Hunting.
Fuck. One last one for the year, huh?
yeah, right.
Got to get it in.
So, yeah, but I highly recommend this. Go check this out over the holiday season. And
Well, I mean, I was a hater, and
Yeah.
I'm telling you, go see this movie.
Yeah.
It's really good.
yeah.
Yeah. I just look at it.
Was it
Like,
great?
don't
We
even-
asked before. Was it great?
I think it was
I think
great.
it's great.
Genuinely, I
You
think it's
think so?
great.
I think it's great just because of the entire environment.
I think
of
it's
the
one of
film.
those movies that it's gonna be easy for you to pick apart. Like if you just start poking holes in it, but you can do that with A Quiet Place.
You can do that with any
The
film,
Bat.
really.
You know,
Yeah.
There's
but
a
it's
lot
all,
of holes
and
you can
I
poke
think,
in that one.
and I think there's a lot of stuff that's like derivative, like as far as the story is concerned. But I mean, like, there's a lot of great
cool.
movies that are,
Yeah.
and it's just like. I don't know. I just had a great time. I had a great time at the movies. I would like to see it again when there's less people in the theater, though, for
Dude,
sure.
when that kid died, the heartbreak really felt good in a place like that.
did
True,
feel good
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liz, what about you? Anything to wrap it up with?
No, I really liked it. I thought it was a really good movie. I enjoyed seeing it. I don't know.
All right.
That's about it.
Play the song.
Oh yeah, it's the clip of the week. Oh, it's the clip of the week. It's the clip of the week.
All right, it's a short one, so
All
we
right.
can wrap it up
Let's
quick.
do it.
8 seconds.
Ready.
Nick, what did you...
Nick.
You really thought he could stop at the
I love
machine
the comic crashing.
into like buckets?
Yeah, like just that you had so much junk.
He did a full 360.
Yeah, is his ankle okay?
Are his hands okay? Does he have
No.
fingers anymore?
His fingers are fucked.
But look at that right there. Oh God. Oh no.
I still like the bull in the china shop kind of thing happening here.
Yo, he was not expecting it to go.
He was like, I'm strong as fuck. I'm gonna stop this machine from even going.
And he was not strong as
Let's
fuck.
give it one more time.
You gotta give him credit. He held on.
He did
not let go.
Well, as soon as his finger got between the belt and the metal, he couldn't let go.
He held on.
All right. Well, with that said,
Follow us on social media.
follow us on TikTok,
LinkedIn,
Instagram,
Friendster.
YouTube.
Xanga,
Mastodon.
Yeah, not Twitter though.
not Twitter. At pressanykey.tv. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Thanks so much for hanging out with us this year, 2022. Another one in the books.
We're coming up on 100 next year.
Yep. Probably
January
second week of
28th.
February?
January 6th.
No, I don't think
What
so.
will you be doing, Nick?
We're going to be doing 4 episodes on January from the White House,
Exactly.
Whoa,
From
okay.
Capitol Hill.
from Capitol Hill.
Sick.
Yeah, we didn't tell you yet.
Yeah,
Oh.
we got a whole thing planned.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
can't wait. It's going to be a good time. All right. So with that said, thanks so much for listening. Liz, shout out. And
Liz's mom, shout out.
and
Santa Claus shout out.
yeah, we'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you in the new year and take a couple weeks off. And I mean, I'll still be streaming on the channel. I think Mike's gonna stream some stuff. And yeah, we'll see you then. Bye bye. Go see Avatar.